The Favorite, filmed by...
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah, I never get his name right.
Yeah, he's an Athenian fella.
Yeah. He's got that advantage. Can't forget a name like that.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, this was an immense surprise. Because I'd seen the trailer a couple months ago, and I don't know why I didn't really act on it. It kind of seemed like we're just doing a comedy, but a period piece as well. And I wasn't really sure about it. But I was hearing some rumblings, and I figured, you know what, I'll see what the hoopla's about. And I basically was treated to the master class on acting.
Oh, yeah. And what I really liked about this movie, too, is that this probably has the best central conceit of a movie I've seen all year. And that's due in large part to the fact that it is not revealed in the trailer. Like, what the movie's really about. Like, it's sort of hinted at, but not. When you find out what it is, you're like, oh, okay.
So that's what's going on.
And it's not only is it watchable, it's kind of like intoxicating. Yeah. You're like, oh man, what's gonna happen? Like the central trilogy of like relationships here of like between Rachel Weisz, Emma Stone, Olivia Colman. Yeah, that is what you're here to see, and boy, does it really, really make it worth the watch. We'll
touch upon that more in the spoilers.
Yes,
but I just want to point out before we continue. This has on the Unbreakable website of Metacritic a 90.
That's really good.
That's hard as hell to get.
Yeah, Metacritic is not easy.
Yeah, no, it's not easy to crack Metacritic. But the performances were amazing, particularly, obviously, Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz.
Oh, man.
Man, it's like, I feel like I have been sleeping on like her career. It's like, what is going on? I didn't know you were this good at acting.
Yeah, I know. It's like you start out in The Mummy.
I was going to say, like, to me, Rachel Weisz has always been the
good, but like fun
good. But like, and like she's opposite of
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser in The Mummy. She's the lady from The Mummy.
But like she acts the shit out of this. Like she is not, without getting too spoiler heavy, like she is a fucking ice queen.
Right.
In a good way.
I guess let's see what else we got here that isn't spoiler. From what I read, the major beats of the story, not like the little details, but the major beats of the story are for the most part historically accurate.
Yeah, it's like they don't necessarily like kill Hitler in an Inglourious Bastard sense.
Yeah, it's not completely revisionist, but the main elements of like, what's her fucking face? Queen Anne and Abigail coming to meet her cousin, Sarah Churchill.
Vying for favor. Yeah. That all happened.
Right. And there's actually a funny quote I have here about what Yorgos Lanthimos said about the accuracy. He pretty much said very bluntly, some of the things in this film are accurate and a lot aren't. You know what I like about that?
You're not bullshitting me.
Yeah, at least he's just upfront about it.
Yeah, and it's kind of not hard to guess which ones he's talking about that aren't accurate.
Right, and it's also like the movie didn't feel like it was trying really, really hard to strive for historical accuracy at every single turn.
This was just an interesting interpretation of historical
events. Exactly. It's like this is kind of his fun take on a specific time period and place and events.
Yeah, I compared it when I was talking to you about it. I compared it to Amadeus.
I would say that's a very apt comparison.
Where it's like, yeah, it didn't happen, but fuck you, who cares? Like it's a good story.
It didn't happen this way, but it's like it works well enough.
Yeah, and
where
like
you kind of that's what I'm saying. You sort of gather it's like this is his interesting take on how things could have gone down.
Right. And
or
there's
how he kind of thinks it should have or whatever.
Right. And there's a 300-year window here of like when this shit actually happened. So like it's not really damaging much if you play around with the sort of truth of stuff.
Yeah. And the one thing I really liked about this is it almost felt like a gangster movie in a way. Mm-hmm. Not that it really had that many similar aspects of it like story-wise, but in that you're not rooting for anyone.
No.
Like everyone is just a horrible piece of shit in this movie.
That's also what I would say is like there's not really a central character that you like. Like I would say you feel bad for some characters.
Without giving away too much.
You're kind of on Emma Stone's side for most of the movie, but even
Fuck it. Spoilers time.
Okay.
It's just too hard. So Emma Stone is a fucking snake in the grass.
Yeah, but you start out and you're like, what the fuck? Like, they're treating her like shit, and she's like dipping her arms in lye and
well,
like
that's
burning
what I was
herself.
gonna say. That was one thing I really enjoyed about this is the attention to detail, like the lye, the whole all the funny wigs and costumes. That lady of the bedchamber, like what a completely archaic title.
Oh my god!
Not only that, like. I'm educated, I speak French, Latin.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Like, who the fuck speaks Latin now?
Oh, my God.
Besides people who want to do well in their SATs or ACTs.
Exactly.
But, no, it's really amazing how she done fools you.
Well, it's weird because, like, you go from really enjoying her character to you kind of never really like Rachel Weisz because you're like, wow, she has a really poisonous relationship with
Queen Anne.
Yeah, Queen Anne. And you kind of go from that to, like, at the end, feeling kind of bad for Olivia Colman's character.
Well, that's what's weird is her, like, honestly, yeah, she's, like, the least shitty of all three of them.
It's kind of tragic because it's, like, it explores, like, the pitfalls of being just an individual in power and, like, how you never... This movie's kind of, like, pessimistic in that, like, can people in that kind of immense power ever truly have a friend? Or like, is that person always going to want something from them because they're this immense person in power? And it's like really depressing. And I thought Olivia Colman, god damn it, she cracked me up, man. She's so fucking good.
Well, she nailed the whole like the duality of the role of like being pathetic yet powerful.
Yeah,
because at the same time, it's like, stop playing in the courtyard. She was yelling at the band. Someone always wants something from her. And like Nicholas Hoult.
Oh my God.
Also extremely stand out in this.
So good. Just like amazing costumes and makeup. Ugh.
He's just such a perfect bastard in this. Like, what part just like cracked me up?
Well, when he
just shoves her down the hill. Like, well, what the hell is that? See, that's what I felt like. That's this director putting his stamp on this time period.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna have him shove her down.
Oh man, yeah, I love that, and I just that's the other thing is that talking tone and just like the weirdness of the movie. I thought the dialogue was like so fucking good. Like from a script standpoint, like that central relationship between the three characters is really on point. But like even on a micro level, like every line of dialogue, there's just like so many quotable like, wow, that was a really fucking dynamite piece of. That was like the perfect thing to say in this moment type of dialogue.
Yeah, there's a lot of good dialogue. Okay, we're talking spoilers. I forgot. So here tryst, there tryst, everywhere tryst.
Yeah.
So that part, you're like, really? Did not see that turn of events.
Yeah.
So you're like, gee, Sarah Churchill and Queen Anne are awfully chummy. And then you're like, okay. And you sit there, okay, that's what's going on. Got it.
Emma Stone's like sitting there like trying to grab a book, like trying to sneak out.
Yeah. I love how she's just trying so quietly to grab the book and all that shit.
God, it's amazing.
Just a masterfully crafted scene.
You know what I liked is like how didn't it feel like all the scenes were like lit like supernaturally, like just by like candles and shit?
I definitely got that impression.
Oh God, that was good shit.
Well, I think part of that was probably like I think that's part of the attention to detail in the set design and everything. Mm-hmm. I felt really immersed in this world at the time.
Yeah, I never really lost the period. Only like 2 times, and it wasn't really for anything that happened in the movie or in the scene. It was more of just like there were 2 or 3 directorial choices where I was like, okay, this feels like a little bit like a contemporized movie. Like, there are a couple scenes where he uses, like, really, really wide, like, 1990s fucking skateboard video camera fisheye lens.
The fisheye lens shots, I was kind of like, okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. You're sort of saying how I guess the douchebag film snob interpretation. It was to imply the disorientation of this extremely excessive world of wealth and power and England.
It's kind of how I felt.
I don't know. It's like to me though, like taking off my snob douchebag hat. It's like these shots are dumb. Mm-hmm. They took me out of it.
Yeah,
because it's like if I'm looking at this flat like a regular lens, and you look at, as I said, the attention to detail and everything, I feel so immersed in this world because it's like, it's archaic, yet everything looks like, yeah, that's what the new version of that would have looked like at the time.
It reminded me of like a 90s music video.
Yeah.
Like a Sugar Ray music video or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Baja Men or some shit.
Yeah, frost tips were cool at that time.
Yeah, dude.
Like, you're like, that was the thing.
Hey, man, some of the hair in that movie, I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, also, the rabbit thing with Abigail made me so fucking mad. I'm like, stop.
Oh, with, she's like, she's trying to step on it.
Almost kill it, and then she's like, nah, I'm not gonna. I'm like, you're an asshole. Now I really hate you.
Yeah.
Because at first I'm like, you're just a sneakster and a trickster.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I'm like, now I really, really hate you.
Well, it's okay, though, because Anne puts her in her place.
Yeah.
Though it's still kind of like, all right, well, this is how their fucked up relationship's just going to be then forever.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. You know what the other thing?
Gross.
Back to the scene where she sees it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine at that time
seeing
that?
Oh man!
Holy Jesus!
Think about like the Emma Stone character seeing that. Like, could you imagine? I mean, she'd just be like, "Oh yes, this is perfect." Like, I've got my fuel.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
It's like, I mean, that was her
like, yeah, but it's like just at that time period. Imagine Emma Stone's shock to see that because number one. Sarah Churchill is not only unfaithful to her husband, but it's with the Queen, no less. So Emma Stone saw that, and I think you were telling me about this earlier. You're saying like that's her in.
Yeah, no, this is it. This is how I get in. This is how I can plot it.
And then on top of that, she one-ups her by getting intimate with the Queen as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like she's just a sneaky asshole, isn't she?
It's just a really brilliant. Again, it's a really brilliant central conflict.
Not only that, you kind of get the feeling that she's just a complete like a hedonist.
Yeah, especially at the end.
Oh, well, okay, because she gets close to the Queen. Then she seems like, if nothing else, just to gain favor, obviously. But then on top of that, marries that other dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I love that one scene, like right toward the end, where she's just drunk and making a fool of herself. And then the husband's just sitting there.
He's like unhappy.
He's just thinking, God damn it, I got duped.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you don't get a whole lot of him, but his character's, I mean, that's kind of part of the deal, is like he's so inconsequential.
Yeah, he's just some dude.
Yeah. But everyone's trying to play puppet master in this. Everyone's trying to control everyone else.
Literally reminded me of like in the original One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest novel. So like it's told from fucking Chief's perspective.
Yeah.
And like there's parts in there where like Chief talks about how he can see like wires coming out of like Nurse Ratched and attaching to all the other patients, which is like supposed to be influential or supposed to be significant above like the fucking her influence over the room. It's like felt like this shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I'm like, whose influence is on whose wires are tendriling out to who. It's just like, got it. And it's so there's subtext, yes, but it's so clear to understand who's in whose favor and who's on whose side, even when it's not. Like you're like, ooh, I feel like this person's plotting this. Like, oh, Emma Stone wouldn't like that, or ooh, Olivia Colman's character wouldn't like that shit. It's
just so perfect too. I was sort of drawing a weird comparison. I thought about this after I watched it. How Abigail's, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Her like false modesty when she first gets there.
The humble bragging.
Well, it reminds me so much of Jordan Belfort's arc in Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, yeah.
Leo, he first gets there, oh, gee whiz, like, you are pond scum. Yeah. And then he becomes like Mr. Fun Tickets.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like she sort of has that same arc.
Well, she has like that one scene where I'm like, ooh, humble brag, where she's like, she's like, looks at her, is like, oh, sorry, ma'am, I was out, I got a cold out picking those leaves that I put on your wound. She's like, that was you? And I'm like, ooh. Damn it, Emma Stone, little ooh.
It's like, at first you think she's an overachiever.
Yeah.
Because she gets the herbs. And then it's like, no, she's not an overachiever. She's a conniving overachiever.
She reminded me a little bit of like somehow less obnoxious version of, what's her name? Fucking Tracy Flick, the Reese Witherspoon character from Election.
Yes. It's funny you mentioned that.
Like, God, I definitely like you.
That. But that's what's crazy about this movie is by the point you realize she's a jerk like everyone else, I kind of didn't like that. Didn't take away anything. In fact, that only made it better.
Yeah.
This whole nonsense about like likable versus unlikable characters. I think it depends on the context of the story, and that's why I was saying I feel in a weird way this reminds me of like a gangster movie because. Like whatever the gangsters at the end of the day, like they're still criminals,
Right.
Even if they're supposed to sort of have a vigilante justice kind of view on things or whatever, it's like they're still kind of just awful.
Reminded me of like a little bit of the McGregor Mayweather fight. You're like, I don't like either of you, but I want to see where this goes.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. This is just like watching a boxing or UFC fight where you think both fighters are pieces of shit.
Right.
Like,
who's the bigger piece of shit?
yeah, you're like, I don't know. But either way, I just want to see how this goes.
I love that
And of
line
course,
at the end with fucking Rachel
yeah.
Weisz where all the fucking carriages are coming out. She's like, I'm suddenly feeling tired of living in England.
Yeah. She's like, you know, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's cool.
Fucking great.
She reminds me of like a billionaire getting arrested. Like,
Like a Madoff type.
yeah, so, everything.
All right, whatever. Change of scenery never hurt.
Everything's cool.
Right.
You know what is weird though? I sort of felt a tiny bit bad for her by the end
Yeah.
because she's manipulative and awful, but she was also pretty brutally honest.
Yeah.
Like her thing, like you look like a badger. She's like, who's gonna tell you that? I'm trying to save you. But of course, she's also sort of gaslighting her by being like, you need me to be there to tell you all this stuff and to sort of watch over you.
The one fucking part where like Olivia Colman's trying to commit suicide and Rachel Weisz comes up as she's about to jump out and is like, aim for the flagstones, the bushes will break your fall. And
Damn.
I'm like, Jesus, you're a bad spouse. You're a badass SO, Rachel Weisz. But no, it's seeing that, and that's what made me feel even worse for like Olivia Colman's character is like neither of these people want what's best for her.
No, of course not. Well, that's what I'm saying. Everyone's just in it for themselves. Just like what a cutthroat time and place that must have been.
Right.
It's like all this shit to gain favor, and then like the queen is so mixed up and like sad, and like the thing about her kids and the bunnies.
Oh God, that's made me feel so fucking gross and sad. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Which was like that was also apparently a very true thing. Not the rabbits, but like the stuff about her failing to have so many children was a huge deal. I think she only had one kid that ended up living to like 2 or 3 years old, and then it died. Like that really blows.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really it's a very like subtextually and contextually rich movie. There's a lot going on with every character.
Yeah, and it's like it's not really, as I said, the trailer sort of made it seem like it was a flat out comedy. It's definitely not.
I would say it's way more of a dark comedy.
It's a dark comedy with dramatic intrigue.
Yeah.
And it's very weird because this is just usually so not my thing. Mm-hmm. Like period piece drama about England, but they really, you know what I think, what was this guy's name?
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Jesus Christ. Yorgos Lanthimos, who I know is, or at least I know is known for his out there things.
Yeah.
Obviously The Lobster being one of them.
Yeah.
I think his weirdness made this type of movie more accessible.
Which is weird, because like usually with his other stuff, I usually look at it and I'm like, not for me.
Yeah.
You know, not that I'm against watching it, but I'm like, I don't know if I'd like The Lobster or Killing of a Sacred Deer. But like this, I was like, okay, maybe I see where they're going with this. And I think you're right. I think it's a perfect blend of like it being mainstream enough for a mainstream like douche like me to follow along with just enough weirdness and zest to be like, wow, this is really fresh.
Well, and I think because he chose to make the movie this way, that's what it made it a very unique movie. Mm-hmm. So it's not just another anything.
Yeah.
It blends so many things together, and in its own like goofy way, it really works. Mm-hmm. So, any final thoughts, or shall we move on to scores?
No, I was just really taken aback by how good it was. It's so much so that it took me about a week and a half to actually settle on a final score. I ended up giving it an 8.5 originally, but I'd probably bump it up to a 9 now.
Okay. I will give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, so that's about the same score.
So that's the same score.
13.5 out of 15.
13.5 out of 15. And the only tiny thing I'll take points away for, the fisheye lens thing was annoying. Mm-hmm. Also, the very, very end shot.
Yeah.
Spoilers, even though we're already talking spoilers.
A little too pretentious.
Well, it's just like, I get it, dude. The bunnies, like...
Yeah, cut the frame.
Roll the fucking credits.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, it's like the last shot. Mm-hmm. If you're making me, like, just get on with it. Mm-hmm. I have to take a little deduction.
Right.
And I really wanted to give this a perfect score, but I just can't. Mm-hmm. So that'll do it for our review of Yorgos Lanthimos' The Favorite.